Hi guys, this is Taylor and I'm here today with my December wrap-up. December, reading-wise, was not the best, but historically it never seems to be, so it's fine. I read 7 things, attempted 8, but 3 are kind of all the same thing. I'll just talk about it. So the first thing I read in December was also my favorite. It was Kurt Vonnegut's Breakfast of Champions. Vonnegut is really probably my favorite author, but I hadn't read a new, to me, novel of his since high school, I think. And I don't know why. God, what is this even about? I guess this is about a used car salesman and a very unpopular sci-fi author whose paths cross and then a bad thing happens. But one of the best aspects of this book is that Vonnegut himself is the narrator and is actually a character within the book itself. So there's one point when Vonnegut as himself, as the author, as the creator of these characters, is sitting across the restaurant from one of his own characters in this book. And he's saying, well, in a couple minutes, he's gonna get up and walk across the restaurant. Why? Because that's what I'm gonna write him to do. It was all incredibly meta, and it just hurt my brain a lot. But it was also very strange and very beautiful, which are my 2 favorite things. And as with all Vonnegut's, I love it, and I am confused and confounded by it. I gave this a very solid 4 stars. So after that, a very exciting thing happened to me, and it is the antithesis of Kurt Vonnegut. So we all know how I feel about Sailor Moon, but the original creator of the manga, Naoko Takeuchi, had a breakout manga before she wrote Sailor Moon. It has never officially been published in English, but I have always kind of dreamed of reading it. And in the middle of the month I found a really high quality fan translation that you could just download and read like an ebook. So you better believe that I did. I read all 3 volumes in as many days. It's called The Cherry Project and it is about competitive ice skating. So it's really not my usual deal. And honestly, it was pretty cliche and pretty just fluff, but really enjoyable nonetheless. And it was all very wintry, and you could see in these characters prototypes of later Sailor Moon characters, so that was just so cool. The last volume especially was just great. The tension just kind of built so nicely. I gave volumes 1 and 2 3 stars and volume 3 4 stars. Listen, I had a great time and that's all that matters. So after that, again, antithesis, I read The Merchant of Venice by William Shakespeare. I read this for my classics book club and personally wouldn't have picked it, but it's fine. I really don't get on with plays as a format. They just have never vibed with me. And honestly, I don't have much to say about this. It was fine. Reading it was tolerable. I did get much more out of it after I went to the book discussion, so I'm really glad that I went to that. And it did ultimately make me glad that I had read it. So 3 stars? I'm gonna get kicked off of book 2. Next, I picked up A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. This was my first ever Dickens, and I would say that I enjoyed it. It definitely did blow me away, but I don't know that it was supposed to. I mean, I think it's more just a quaint little thing about a man discovering the true meaning of Christmas. But it was nice to read around the holidays in this pretty little edition. I believe I also gave this 3 stars. So then I read what ended up being the last thing I finished in 2015, which is The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton. This follows the 18-year-old bride of an older, wealthy merchant in the golden age of trading in Amsterdam in the 1600s and the miniature of their house that kind of haunts their marriage. A very intriguing premise and a beautiful cover, but I was underwhelmed by this. I spent most of the month reading this. It was such a slog and I felt like it really didn't need to be. Even though the plot was progressing, things were moving, there was this permeating sense of stillness, if that makes any sense. And I really didn't connect to any of the characters, and I felt like some events were kind of heavy-handed. I ended up giving this 3 stars. I know I just talked a lot of crap about it, but it was okay. So lastly, and I feel kind of bad about this one, I really wanted to read Phoning Home by Jacob M. Appel. This is a collection of personal essays that all kind of work together as a memoir. I felt like his writing ability itself was very good, but and I feel bad saying this because it's someone's life, but I feel like he just isn't working with the best material. I just feel like the stories he was telling weren't very interesting, even though they're well written. So yeah, I'm gonna DNF the last book of 2015. It's fine though, because last year I gave a 1-star rating to the last book I read. Kerouac. So that was my December. I am so ready for January. I hope you are too. Check out this sweater, by the way. You see that? You getting that? You getting that? So yeah, I am off to a New Year's party, but I will see you next year. Bye!